segment though.
That was good. You getting the hang of that
Okay,
outro?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Susan. I
Yeah,
appreciate
it
it.
stops for I have no idea why,
Okay,
but
Okay.
I can edit it and put it back in there.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to make sure we weren't cut off at the end there. All right.
I said 5 seconds, but really all I need to do is just edit a little bit and get the timing in.
All right, right on.
Let me save this and
All right, sounds good.
See? Oh, we always answer.
It's prime example right there. Perfect.
Can you believe that down payment in San Jose?
Well, it's a jumbo loan, right? And they got to be minimum 20%.
10, minimum 10.
Just 10.
They rolled out some new jumbo products that have 10 down.
Did they? Wow.
That's nice.
With certain credit scores.
Wow.
That's just nuts. I told you people make bigger down payments in San Jose.
Oh yeah.
They have to.
Yeah, to compete.
Their down payment will pay cash for houses out here.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. All right.
But honestly, thinking about my own personal situation, my income, even if I wouldn't want a $5,000 payment if I was
Yeah.
only making $216,000. That doesn't seem like a lot. I mean, for that large of a payment, that's just nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
60 grand a year, mortgage payment.
That's crazy.
Gosh, I've been there. It's not a very fun feeling.
Well, I haven't been-
It doesn't make living in your home all that much.
You don't want to come home.
Seriously, man. No, you know what's funny is, and I always kind of think about this stuff. It's like you go on a trip for a week. It's like you may as well tack on another $1,250 to your trip because that's what you're paying not living in your house, right? It's insane. Insane. Alright. Facebook Live viewers, we're diving back into the second segment. Yeah.
I'll play the music here in a second.
Okay. Okay. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm Jason LaFlesch with Results Realty, and this is your real estate power hour right here on Fox Sports 910. Josh Nastal with AmeriFirst Financial sitting across from me. Of course,
Yes,
joined
sir.
by the ladies, Sandy Betancourt and Alicia Rodriguez, both with Results Realty. We are your full-service real estate brokerage here in Arizona. And a little later in the show, we're going to talk about some radio show listeners that have given us a call. As a matter of fact, John that I told you about, you guys, that called yesterday, meet with him on Monday.
Nice.
Yeah, talking
Nice.
about listing his place. So it's had some great feedback from this station. 15 years on 2 other stations, and now we're changing it up. A little Fox Sports 910, if you will, and it's a good time so far. So we got some listener questions that have emailed us over the last few days, so we'll get to those in a second. But Sandy, I'm going to look your way. You always kind of have some really cool news of the weird, if you will.
Quirky. Call it what it is.
Yeah.
Off the
And-
beaten path. Yeah.
Yeah. But before we get to that, why don't we start with the 5 weird things that can boost the value of your home without you probably even knowing it.
Right. This is a funny list because I've heard this in the past, but I never really paid much attention to it. But this article actually makes sense. So this is called
Does
5
it
weird
make dollars
things.
though?
It makes dollars and cents.
Doesn't make sense.
So-
Dollars, it doesn't make sense. Right.
These can boost your value, and they have absolutely no control in what you do. So if a Starbucks comes to your neighborhood,
Ooh.
it's known to raise the value of your home. I'm sure there's a lot behind that one, and it's been
Well, I
kind
think
of.
they probably have to pull stats in the area and.
Yeah, I guess they
and all that
only
stuff.
kind of build a Starbucks
Right.
where they know they're gonna have a lot of residual income.
Right.
You know, where it's gonna actually work out. So if it comes to your neighborhood, you're in a great neighborhood.
And not only that, Sandy, but if you think about like out where we live, Santan Village, let's say, all of those restaurants there and
Yeah.
shops and everything. I mean, there's a Starbucks there, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there
Right.
as
Yeah,
well.
there's also a thing called the Whole Foods effect.
The Whole Foods, yeah.
Yeah.
And even though like none of us might not even drink Starbucks or like care about Starbucks, but
Right.
when it comes to your neighborhood, the type of people that
They've
hang
done
out
their
there,
homework,
yeah,
and
they
that's
know
where they're
exactly
putting
where
it
they
there.
want to be,
Yeah.
and that will raise your value regardless of if the buyer likes Starbucks or not.
I agree with you with the Whole Foods. So Whole Foods, Sprouts, AJ's,
AJ's.
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's is on this list for the same reason.
We don't have very many Trader Joe's in Arizona.
We're getting one out
There's
in
not
our
a
But I'm just
area.
saying,
Where, you
in
know.
retrospect to other grocery
Well,
stores,
California,
there's
there's
very few.
a lot of Trader Joe's. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. Trader Joe's is a big deal. Even
Yep.
though the store's like the size of this studio.
Which Trader Joe's do you guys
Right.
go to?
The one on what?
Gilbert Baseline?
and Baseline, but
Yeah.
we're getting one towards the
Perfect.
Santan Mall.
Yes.
Perfect.
So you have to
We're
drive
also getting
all the way.
Nordstrom's
You have
wrap.
to drive all the way out from.
Yeah, and
From
it's
where you
it's,
guys
it's
are.
worth the
But
drive.
there's a Sprouts next door.
Guess what?
It's amazing.
We have a
Me and
Sprouts.
Alicia don't have to drive that far.
That's
to go to
right. We
Trader
could
Joe's.
bike there.
That's true.
But when Sandy
You
moves
guys are
into
close.
our neighborhood, then she can.
Then there it goes to hell.
Yeah. Don't you care about your resale value?
Oh, that's dirty.
I'm not talking about Sandy. I'm talking about AJ.
Oh. Hey, we live in kind of your
Wow.
neck of the woods now, Jason.
Yeah.
That's true.
Actually, yes. Sandy
I haven't
moved
told
into
me
our
one.
neighborhood because she put so many beautiful Christmas decorations.
Oh yes,
That's true.
my 5 Christmas trees. Yes.
Yeah. Keep going with your list. What else you got there?
Okay. This is a funny one, but it makes sense. Marijuana. So not pot smokers like that, but when the state becomes,
Right.
you know, when they allow not just
Medical
medical, but when they allow like, you know, what do you
Like
call it?
Colorado, California.
Yeah, that kind of marijuana when it's
Recreational.
recreational, when it's available,
Well,
it
medical
brings
too, though.
in medical too, but it brings in more dispensaries. And where there's a dispensary, which a lot of people
Oh,
might
Vegas.
think they're disgusting and gross, if you ever actually walk into one, they're made up really nicely and they're kind of like day spas in a weird way. Well, that brings the growers and it also brings
Tourists.
the tourists that want to travel and vacation and live closer to that because not all states do it. And you also have you know, the people that work for the companies that want to dispense it and stuff. So it actually brings more positive and money to the environment or to the communities than you would
Yeah,
think.
You're absolutely right. I read an article about someone who had Parkinson and their state didn't allow
Right.
medical marijuana and they moved to Arizona just because of that.
Uh-huh.
Right,
Yeah.
I read that too.
Yeah.
Sandy, are you a pothead fucker?
No, I am not. I actually, and for no reason. And the funny thing is, you know, when it comes to pot, I think I don't have anything negative about it. I just don't really smoke anything. But I think if people decide to smoke that instead of cigarettes, it's natural. It's probably better for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I mean, if you choose it instead of crack or heroin, why not? So,
Might be slightly healthier.
right, I know. I mean,
Where is this? Is this a real estate and mortgage show, or what are we talking
we're
about
talking
now?
about communities.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I'd rather
All right,
have
all right.
marijuana in my community than crack.
All right.
Well, I mean, and to your point, look
100%.
at Colorado.
Right.
They pulled themselves out of bankrupt. I think they were near bankruptcy, weren't they? The entire state
Mm-hmm.
That's
before
what I've
they
heard,
yeah.
did the marijuana
Thriving
thing.
now.
Well, it's
Yeah.
all the
And
tax dollars.
A ton of
yeah.
that money has gone to their schools.
Uh-huh.
Big portion of it.
Very
Wow.
smart.
What
And
else?
they have a really great tourist.
If you can't tell, I'm a marijuana proponent.
Good for you. I am too. I'm all for it. I just don't do
Go
it
green.
myself. But hey, go green. Trader Joe's for the same reason as Starbucks. When they come to your neighborhood must be booming. This one, this is what it's called. I didn't call it this. It's called a gayborhood. So areas like San Francisco, where else?
A lot of areas.
Well, you know, Seattle. Areas that are positive with the LGBT community happen to have higher values, and that has to do with a lot of, like you explained it, Elle.
Dual incomes, no kids.
Exactly.
So a lot of them have dual
You had
incomes.
a
and no kids.
acronym.
Interesting.
A lot of and it just it brings in more people, more of the any age generation. It's a positive environment, and I don't know why exactly, but the values
Well, I
go
can
up a
tell you
lot.
that if we didn't have kids, we would have a lot more spending.
And yeah, and some of them, I mean, a good portion of them don't have kids. So
right.
the last
That's
thing,
true. Yes. Yeah.
the last
Exactly.
thing that can raise your values that you have no control of is military base. It like,
Oh, wow.
and we have sold a lot of homes on
Yes.
in Litchfield Park, and it's true.
Yeah.
They constantly are selling because
They
if
move
you're
around a lot.
stationed there, if you're stationed there and you don't want to live on base, you can easily buy a home. And
Well,
then when you're
Lots
done,
of
and with the
VA
VA,
loans.
yeah.
Great
Yeah.
loans.
When you're done,
Very
sell
low.
it, move on to a different state and buy your home there. So
Great
there's
loans.
constantly people moving in and buying homes close to the Air Force Base because they're actually in the Air Force.
Sandy, I would say when I was selling new homes for Continental Homes
Mm-hmm.
out in Litchfield Park, I would say that at least 10 to 20% were active military
True.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
were buying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So that's
good thing.
interesting.
That's a great
Totally.
list. That's a
Mhm.
great list, actually.
It really is.
Really.
Really is.
I wouldn't have thought the Starbucks and the Trader Joe would have really boosted your home value that much.
It's probably not.
It's all those coffee beans out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
I-
not really the coffee though. It's them having more income. You know?
The lifestyle.
The lifestyle,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you could spend that much on a coffee, then they want to move into your neighborhood, then they must think positively of the
Right.
community and how much they spend on coffee.
Indeed. Indeed.
Well,
Hey,
they-
let's
They
go
put
to.
it down to a science.
They
Yeah.
do. Let's go to a couple listener questions.
Oh, good idea.
First one here we have Jeff out of Tempe. And he says, I've been listening to your show since its debut on 910, and I love it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's not the typical boring AM show that you usually hear. Anyway, I have been renting an apartment for the last 5+ years, and I'm tired of it. I have a little over $20K in student loans. All right, I see where this is going. This is more of a kind of a mortgage question. So I have a little over 20K in student loans, and I've been working at the same job coming up on 3 years now. First, my student loans, do they affect my ability to qualify for a loan? And second, do I have enough job history to qualify? Thanks. So 3 years at his job.
Very good question. Very similar position a lot of people are in, quite honestly.
Okay.
And thanks for listening, Jeff. That's awesome to get some positive feedback from him. But yeah, absolutely, you can buy. I mean, it's going to be a matter of how much.
Okay.
So to answer his two questions, absolutely has plenty of work history. Okay. A lot of people think that in order to buy a home, you have to be on the same job for 2 years, and that's just not the case. Okay. You have to have a minimum of a complete 2-year work history with minimal gaps. Okay. So someone coming right out of high school could take a job, work for 2 years, and they could buy a house. Okay.
Okay.
So he's got plenty of work history.
Okay.
No problem there. Now his student loans are going to affect him. There's no way around that. It sounds like they're not in any type of deferment either.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if they were, we'd still have to calculate a minimum payment.
Okay.
So
the next question he'd do, or the next call he'd make is to you,
To me,
just
absolutely.
to let you know what other kind of debt he has,
absolutely.
and income and everything. Okay.
You know, it sounds like he has some decent income. You know, he's got some debt, but honestly, $20,000 in student loan debt, believe it or not, isn't that
It
much.
doesn't sound that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad, Jeff.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, call me, 602-377-1979, and we'll walk you through it. I mean,
Perfect.
if you can do something, great. If it's gonna take you 3 months to get pay off some other additional debt, we'll put it together.
Okay, sounds good.
Absolutely.
Hey, before the end of the segment, we have a Facebook Live comment right here from Noel Courtney, and it says, and he's up in Oregon.
Oh, Oregon.
He says more dispensaries here than Starbucks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sometimes they combine them, right?
Right. Hey, more of the show when we return. Stay tuned.
I was gonna ask you where he was.
Are these
Like,
all
that's,
comments already?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's really cool. I wish we had more dispensaries than Starbucks.
Yeah.
You wish you had more dispensaries than Starbucks?
Yeah, I wish we did here. I mean, not that I
have-
want to have 5,000 dispensaries. I just want to have less
We
Starbucks.
really don't have that many dispensaries.